Hello there. Now we are looking at the project examples and recommendations, which is part of the stage 1 area here on Blackboard. So you're accessing the video from here, obviously, and I'm going to go through some collaborative project opportunities that you could do for this class, as well as some examples from previous students, or it's sort of a database that you can look at, and some project ideation tips that might help you along the way of sort of considering what it is you might put together this semester in the class. So when it comes to collaborative project opportunities, I'm going to, kind of give an overall view of what these might be, but there is some more specific information for them that you can review on your own, and you can also ask me with any questions. So below is a series of collaborative projects you can choose to do for this course. Having a collaborative project like this in your portfolio shows additional skills at being able to work collaboratively with a client, as well as having a clear connection outside of the classroom, right? So it can be impactful on your portfolio to have projects like this because it shows that you're working, with partners and things like that outside of just being in a classroom. So it can be effective in that way. So one really fantastic collaborative project that has come up for this semester is a Black History Month project. So there's a great brief here. I'll show you kind of what it looks like, but review it for information about an exciting collaborative project happening at Humber celebrating Black history. So it's actually a Humber wide kind of project happening where they're trying to get a bunch of creative programs around the school to make projects centered around Black history. So you can see in this document that actually the collaborators put together here, right? These project leads here at Humber. Black Excellence in Canada, immersive stories that inspire. So like I said, there's more detailed information here for you to go through, especially if you're interested in this project. But basically, it is a way to celebrate Black Canadians and Black Canadian history. And the idea being that you as multimedia design and development students should have a lot of very sort of, expansive digital creative skills that could lend itself to a powerful project around this subject matter. So the objectives being to recognize and celebrate the achievements of Black Canadians, past and present, develop media production, research, and storytelling skills aligned with a variety of Humber's disciplines, promote diversity and inclusion in Canadian narratives, and encourage critical thinking and reflection on representation in Canadian media. So especially if any of those things are things that are important for you, I think that this is a fantastic project to take on. And it makes it easy to discuss the personal relevance as well for you in the project to say, these are, causes and things that are very important to me that I would like to highlight, right? So purpose and goals, celebrate and amplify voices. The reality of this is that, let's see it. Yeah. Okay. So here's some suggested possible sort of mediums or formats that you could use for this project, right? So you could create a short documentary or video profile on a particular subject. You could make a podcast or audio story around a subject or aspect of Black Canadian history, photo essays and visual storytelling pieces, written feature articles and profiles if you want to improve your writing. That could be a compelling thing too. Social media campaigns and visual designs, video sharing platforms, live streaming platforms, interactive platforms, virtual and augmented reality platforms, and it can be expanded beyond this too if you have your own idea. But basically, how could you select a notable Black Canadian figure or sort of historical moment in Black Canadian history, and how could you convey that story somehow through, again, all of the creative skills you've learned in this program? And again, I'm being kind of vague and open-ended with this because at the end, it comes down to you to make something impactful and interesting and compelling here. And there is, so here, it kind of breaks it down into the overall stages of how that would work with the class. But the final project as well, it could be, it might be presented during Black History Month in February as part of a faculty-wide showcase, potentially both in person and online. So especially if it's a successful project, Humber would want to show that off, right, and showcase it. So it might all come together during Black History Month next February. Your project could be showcased. So once again, that is something that you could put on your resume. That's something that would make you stand out. That's something that would help you a lot in your professional career, especially as you're getting it started. So this is a great project for many reasons, but there's just a few that I listed there. So if you're interested, definitely read through the more intricate description. And if you have any questions about this as well or what you're thinking about doing, definitely send me a message or pass it by me. There's also the Nebula Dawn escape room, which you may have heard of. So there's a Humber official escape room called Nebula Dawn. It's a project led by Robert Blaine, the MMDD project program coordinator. You probably know him by now. He's maybe your professor this semester. I'm not sure. It's currently set up at 300 Birmingham Street, which is near Lakeshore campus, so you can go visit it there. It's in its own room. It's really cool. The escape room is intended to have student contributions as well as an educational experience. So this class is an opportunity for students to contribute to the escape room. So some ways you could contribute to it for this course could be, creating promotional assets or a campaign for Nebula Dawn. So you can make a series of videos for social media. You can make a poster campaign to be shared on campus, right? Just spreading the awareness to Humber students that they could go visit this escape room or that it's a thing that exists. And that would make even, the work of the MMDD program more expansive around the school as well. Contributing to Nebula Dawn's multimedia assets. So if you go experience the escape room, you'll notice that there's videos of there's a captain of a spaceship and there's a distress message happening. And then, it's a spaceship flying through space. So there's the universe and stars passing by, and they're using screens and video and stuff to show all of this. So you could definitely work on, doing your own version of those assets, trying to improve upon them, and there's potential that they could get integrated directly into the escape room. And also more branding stuff too, there's a really cool logo for Nebula Dawn. You could make logo animations or a motion design kit that could be used for the project in the escape room. So a lot of really cool stuff. And there's more information about the project at these links. There is a previous MMDD student who was actually paid to do some sort of UI UX design work for the escape room. So you can look through what they did there and sort of the brand approach that they put together, which is really cool. And there's an official article in the Humber Spark magazine that talks about the escape room itself and how it was put together, the way students contributed to it, and you can kind of see it here, right? It's a really cool, it's a little escape room. I was so surprised for some reason when I went to it, because I'm like, this is a real legit thing. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be. There's a video there of the faculty talking about it too. And Humber put together a LinkedIn article about it. I think it's probably similar to that other article too. But you can check it out. And that can give you a better sense of what's going on with this project. But you definitely, if you're interested in contributing to it in some way, you can also reach out to Robert Blaine, Rob, with any more questions. Or he could take you on probably a personal tour of it if you requested it. I think he'd be very happy to. He wants people involved in this escape room. He wants people to contribute to it. So you could even reach out to him and say, hey, I like motion graphics and things like that. I'm wondering how I could help this escape room or contribute to it and stuff. And he might have some actually more specific answers for you than I would, because he actually is working and building the thing. Another collaborative project is one that runs every fall, and it's making promotional multimedia assets for Dania Games in Denmark. Currently pending, because I'm waiting on a response from my colleague in Denmark right now about this, but I'm sure he'll get back to me, and it's going to be running this term. So I'll send out an update when this gets updated. But basically, Dania Games is a game design school in Denmark, and I've been able to visit there. Very fortunate, right? There's my colleague there and his Master Chief cosplay. So it's a game design school, and each semester a handful of games that are made by students are provided to us in this class because they're in need of promotional multimedia stuff. So it's a collaborative project where you would be in contact with the game designers, and you would discuss your project ideas with them, get feedback, and have the assets potentially used by them as well. So it becomes a very important learning opportunity for you to do this, because you're working with a client, you're working internationally. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's a Discord server that's set up for this collaboration, so we get you set up on the Discord server, and that's how you connect and talk with the game designers, and it's a whole thing. Usually there's a list of games that need to be worked on with their multimedia, but right now I'm waiting on that list, so once it's updated I can let the class know. But examples might be a website or landing page, branding guide, social media profiles, content, game trailers, assets for Steam page, etc. Here's an example from the fall, right? So this student, Shaman's Dungeon, was a game that was made by the game designers at Dania Games. And this student, you can see there it's kind of like a pixelated sort of top-down action RPG type thing. This student used their motion design skills to create an original trailer. And I mean, you can see the how impressive their work is here, but you know, they really did like kind of a more legit animation here, using characters and things like that that exist in the game as a way to promote it. So this is a cool one, right? And again, it's using all the multimedia skills in this program to put together something impactful and interesting. So that's a great example there. I keep saying and I can put together some other examples there as well of what students have worked on in the past for you to access. If you're interested in this opportunity, please send me a Blackboard message stating which of the games you're interested in, which there aren't any games yet, but you'll give me what game you're interested in and a quick pitch of what you may create by Monday, September 15th. So hopefully I'll get some games in between now and then, because only one student may work on each game. Right, so say for instance I'm provided 3 games that are in need of some development or some multimedia work. There's only 3 projects in this class that could do that, right? So you would need to propose your idea to me, and I'd have to kind of assess which students should get the project or not. So that would come in the future. And with any of these collaborative opportunities, reach out to me with any questions, okay? Because I know that there might be some things that are a bit unclear, or if you have any ideas of how you might do something, let me know. So that's collaborative project opportunities. There's also project examples here from previous semesters. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see, so here's a section of the most recent projects from this past summer, but I've organized them by some different areas of expertise, sort of different fields, I guess. So exploratory tech projects, UI UX, multimedia art, social media content development, video production, motion graphics, branding, and graphic design. Right, again, showing the expansiveness of this program, which it's wild that it's only 2 years long and students can make so many things in so many different directions. But if you're thinking about what particular area you are most interested in working in, especially after school here, you can look at some projects in that area to get a sense of what students have done in the past. You can also get a sense of the scope of their projects, right? Maybe to help you refine what it is you're working on. And some of the most interesting ones for me are when students kind of hit me with a project that I wouldn't have even thought to tell students to do. So here's one where a student made 3D modeling assets for The Sims 4. They're a fan of The Sims, and so they use this as an opportunity to basically learn Blender and create game assets. I'm just scrolling through this rather fast here, right? They wanted to make a replica of this mug that they had. They sketched it out. They learned Blender to create the 3D object of it. They mapped on textures and skins. They mocked it up. And then it's like available in the Sims 4 fan community for people to download these assets and put them in their game. So I thought that was awesome. And once again, I'm not thinking to tell students, yeah, why don't you make assets for Sims 4? But this student did it, and it was a really cool project, and it shows a lot of creativity and skills here in their approach to it. So that's a really cool project a student did, and there's all kinds of other great projects here, and these are mostly ones that I kind of filtered out as strong projects from students, but you can just kind of see all the different things. You know, I could click on all kinds of stuff here, but like if you're interested in motion graphics, this is a really cool one where there's motion graphic videos. Sometimes you might notice too when you open Behance, you kind of have to refresh it for it to fit the whole thing. I don't know why. This has a really, you know, visually arresting case study that's all animated and stuff like that that the student put together. But once again, showing their process, and they made these videos that were basically awareness for online safety things. So a lot of cool stuff. Okay, so check them out. And when it comes to providing example projects in your proposal, you could even say, hey, you know, I was kind of inspired by what this student did. Okay. Last, there are some project ideation tips. So it can be hard to come up with a project idea, but I really do push you to develop one, obviously. I mean, you're going to have to. That's part of the challenge here, is when you're given kind of such an open-ended prompt, how do you actually determine what you're going to do? That's a challenge. That's something for you as a creative to figure out and develop. But here's some general tips to get your ideas flowing. You can't just explore Behance beyond previous student projects, right? You go to Behance and you say, okay, I like motion graphics for film. I don't know. And then you can find some things. Hopefully, some interesting projects. Pills for thrills. I didn't have an immediate example on hand here. How about I just type in motion graphics? Right. Google Gemini. Okay. There we go. Yeah, this is a classic sort of project. So go around Behance, type things you're interested in, check out professional examples on there, right? This is from Google, I believe. So that's very highly professional, you know, millions and billions of dollars put into this stuff. But also you can see from, you know, other students, other freelancer designers, other people just starting out, all kinds of levels of experience. Ooh, wow, let's see, they got Percy Jackson on here. Some interesting stuff. Ooh, there's a student that did a film intro before, so that could be a cool project, especially if you're interested in that kind of industry. So one thing to do is just go around Behance, look at things. Another thing you can do is I did create a project assistant using ChatGPT. Once again, I'm in emerging technologies. How can it adapt to my own discipline, right? So there's all kinds of back and forth with AI and how to figure out how it can work in classes and what students do. I'm trying this out. I don't know whether it'll be effective or helpful or what. So basically, if you're really struggling to develop ideas, I have made a project assistant AI bot that you can access. So you can ask the bot to help generate project ideas. And it does have a database of all the previous student projects made in this class. So it can pull from that, ideally, if it works. You treat it as an ideation tool and tweak what it tells you to adapt it more clearly to the course and your abilities. I really don't want to, I'm hesitant to put this out there because I don't want students to just make a project for me, copy, paste, you're good to go. Once again, you have to work on this all semester, so what AI thinks you would want to do may not be what you actually want to do. If you use it to be critical, understand the ideas and statements aren't always 100% true. I've had it give me links to student projects that aren't real. So, but it was very confident that they were real, which is funny. Make sure to state that you used it in your project proposal. That's essential, that you make it clear that you used it. And I would ask, if you do use this specific tool, to include a paragraph or statement discussing your use of it, any issues you faced, right? Did it work? Did it have problems? And how much it influenced your proposal as well. This will give me important data about student use. Again, I'm intrigued to see what comes of this, if people use it or not, and if it's helpful. You should be able to use it with a free plan. It's like a custom GPT that I made, which I had to have a paid plan to create, but you should be able to access it with a free plan. If you can't, well, then I guess you can't use the bot. Okay, so the MMDD 232 Project Assistant, I could have given it a name, I guess, but I'm not always trying to humanize AI. Help students explore past projects, understand course expectations, and get recommendations. So, okay, I'm having trouble coming up with a project idea. That's totally normal. It's once again, reaffirming your thoughts. This course is designed to make you explore new directions, so it can feel overwhelming at first. Did I write this? Here we go. Here's all the requirements for it. So, to spark ideas, here's some directions: UI, UX, and app design, motion graphics, animation, emerging tech. Look at that. Students have made some small 2D web games, social media campaigns. And look at this. Okay, interesting. UI, UX, redesign a familiar app to solve a pain point. Example, redesigning my Humber dashboard. Whoa, right? It's giving you an example from a previous student. Pretty interesting. Motion graphics, animated promotional video for a brand, cause, or event. Example, Worldwide Wildlife Foundation. I'm not sure what exactly WWF stands for, but this was a motion graphics campaign a student made for the cause of, I think, preserving the oceans or something of that sort. So this is interesting, right? A good way to decide, think about what tools or skills you want in your portfolio, connect to that topic, scope it out to something achievable in 12 to 14 weeks. It's very interesting how much it knows about the class and how it's able to put this stuff together. How about, like, I have a personal interest in what is something. How about music? And I want to develop a career in UI UX design, what's it gonna say? Perfect. That's a strong combo. Once again, it's confirming everything you say. Music discovery app, gamified. See, now here's what's interesting. Okay, a gamified music learning platform, an app that teaches basic music theory or instruments through gamified UX. Include interactive exercises, badges, or progress tracking. Example inspiration, crochet, gamification, dance. Yeah, a student did make this. So it was their own gamified app to learn crochet. So it's saying you could take the student's approach, right? Sort of a Duolingo educational app for learning crochet. And then what if you made a music app? It's interesting. So, you know, try it out. See what's going on. Would you like me to draft 3 No, please do not make project pitches. See, so I have to create more guardrails for this thing to not do the work for you. Anyway, that's something interesting. Try it out. If you use it, talk about how you used it, because I'm interested to know what's going on with that. That covers project examples and recommendations. And remember, all these videos and stuff you're watching, keep track of how much time you're spending on them, because that becomes a part of your timesheet for all of the grand time you're spending on this course and on this project, which it's going to be coming together, right? You're going to start really putting together what it is you're working on. So that's great. So continue on, and as I always say, reach out to me with any questions on Blackboard. And the sooner rather than later, a week before your proposal's due is so much better than a day before it's due. It's an easy example to say, but it's so true. Just like with a client. Ah! Okay, awesome. Take care.